At the halfway mark of this year's Kumho series, it's one of the closest title races in the category's short history. Just 19 points separates leader Shay Davies, Malala winner Terry Waihoon and last round winner Tony Evangelou. Without a round win to his name, Davies knows that winning rounds is the only way to put a title win beyond doubt.
Now Waihoon locks it up. Davies is back down the inside to the race lead. Waihoon trying to get back onto the road. Haber down the inside. 3 wide, he's locked it up. Contact between all three.
All we know is Shay Davies will get the race win. What a final lap at Sydney Motorsport Park.
This weekend's a new opportunity. We've had a little bit of things go wrong earlier in the year, which have certainly halted our speed, but we've had race wins, but a round win would be great. So, yeah, that's what we're gunning for this weekend. We've managed to place our car in front of Morgan this weekend for qualifying, and no, it's going to be a tough weekend. It certainly won't be straightforward, but I think we've got every chance to get the win.
With 21 cars this weekend, it's also the biggest field the series has assembled at Queensland Raceway. And the man to beat would appear to be last year's round winner, Morgan Haber.
Yeah, we had a very good run last year. Yeah, like I said, had pole, I think by like half a second, and the first 2 races, I won them as well by 5-6 second gap. So yeah, we had a good run last year, but it's going to be a lot tougher this year.
After an impressive debut at Winton, Ryan Simpson has proven he'll be a cat amongst the title fighting pigeons this weekend. But regardless of whether his on-track rivals are points contenders or not, he'll race them the same way.
Last year, I don't know if he won the round, he got pole, and he was quick here, so he's going to be sort of one of the guys to look out for. At the moment he's 4th on the grid, so I've got a few guys in front of him that are on the pace this weekend. I think Queensland Raceway is all about braking and then getting the power down off the tight hairpin corners. So there's a lot of time under brakes around here, and it's something we've been working on.
Queensland Raceway and round 4 of the Kumho Tyres V8 Touring Car Series. Before we get into the main races of the weekend, let's go back and take a look at race 1 highlights. Aaron Noonan is alongside me, and Noons, as always it seems, the Saturday race was full of action and stuff that may well change the championship fight at the end of the season.
Rich, I don't know why, but race 1 is always the one that delivers. Coming into the weekend, Shay Davies on top, just 8 points back to former champ Terry Waihoon. Tony Evangelou, last round winner at Winton, 3rd in the Cat Ford, very much within striking distance. Matt Hansen, best of the Commodore drivers, in 4th from Steve Briffa. Chris Spurton not competing this weekend, still 6th in points. Ryan Simpson took pole with Matthew White alongside us. We check out the highlights of race 1 late on Saturday afternoon. And for the championship contenders, things happen. Terry Waihoon, this was not even the bad bit. This was just the start.
Light contact with Tony Evangelou at turn 1, but that would lead to bigger things. Jim Polisena, as is now his custom, made a brilliant start in race 1 and got plenty of track position early, but as we'll find out shortly, that wouldn't work for him. We're on board with Polisena, down the inside, bang! Big impact from Waihoon, involved Evangelou and Polisena, who got out of the corner but didn't go too much further.
Looped the ex-Jason Richards Commodore to the grass, and a range of damage with those cars. On board with Waihoon, locks the rear brakes, bang, wipes out the Cat Ford. Lucky not to get Evangelou in the door.
That would work for Shay Davies, who'd finish up the order, but the race 1 victory went to Ryan Simpson. So with several of his key championship rivals down the field, Shay Davies started race 2 from 3rd. Ryan Simpson and Morgan Haber on the front row after winning race 1. For Ryan Simpson, he got the best start again and went down into turn 1 and led. Davies got to 2nd.
And it was a really good fight, Rich. They all got their way through turn 1 okay, and Evangelou, Waihoon, Polisena trying to fight their way up through the order. Matthew White, first start in the Kumho series, getting in there and fighting hard with Shay Davies. Then his teammate Morgan Haber got on through. But Davies, remember, is fighting for the series. He's fighting for points. The guys that were racing him are not, so he had to be very careful. But Matthew White would have some engine problems that dropped him back through the field as a sailor got by, and then Matt Hansen in HRT car.
Morgan Haber got to 2nd, but would later be penalised 5 seconds for a jump start, so he ended up finishing 3rd with Davies 2nd. This was a fight further down the field. Waihoon and Evangelou got together in race 1 and got together in a different way in race 2 when they were dicing for position whilst working their way through the field, and Jim Polisena followed them through. This was a fabulous battle between Matt Hansen and Nathan Saylor.
Oh, Rich, this was classic. This was dice of the race. They were over, they were under, they were passing and repassing. It was classic stuff between Matt Hansen and Nathan Assailant, and they just went at it. It was a really good race, the best that we've seen over the course of the weekend, but no one could catch Ryan Simpson. 2 from 2 for the weekend so far.
2 races down, 1 to go at Queensland Raceway in round 4 of the Kumho Tyres Australian V8 Touring Car Series. That guy there, Shay Davies, looking to consolidate a points lead with some of his key series rivals down the field. Ryan Simpson, meanwhile, Aaron Noonan, trying to go 3-3 and sweep the round.
Here's how they line up for the final race. Combined points from the first 2 determine the grid for this one, and it's Simpson and Haber on the front row. Davies Assailant row 2, then Hansen, Briffa, Dan Day and Maury Pickering. Set for the start on board with Dan Day in the ROH Wheels 40. Plucks the gear in that sequential gearbox. He's ready to go. Final race of the weekend, round 4. Great start from Shay Davies, initially on the bike. One car won't start. Matthew White is not on the grid for this final race. The rest of them are, though. Look at Matt Hansen forcing the issue, trying to get a run to turn 1. Simpson leads the way, and that was Matt Charter and Maury Pickering very nearly having pretty decent contact.
And a couple of cars just dropping wheels off at turn 1, but that's okay. And once again, it's Simpson in front, Haber second. So despite that penalty, he goes to second place after starting on the front row. Here's Raymond Connell, newcomer to the series. We've seen a bit about him already in the show, and he's working his way forward in the AU model Falcon, but 3 for the first time. There's Simpson, he leads, and this is that midfield battle. Tony Evangelou, not a great start from the Cat Ford. He's got some ground to make up.
And remember that he and Waihoon and Policina, the guys who didn't get points in race 1 or didn't get very many points. Dan Day out of control, hits the back of Matt Hansen. He'll pick up the spot, but he probably would be smart here to give it back, or else Matt Hansen might give him a biff as well and take it back from him. But what I was saying about the other guys who got no points or minimal points from race 1, because this grid's combined, and look, I think he's getting a little bit of assistance on his way down into turn 6. They've got to do the bite-back job again in this final race, and it's still going here, and I think that's return of serve, but it also loses another spot to Steve Briffa.
Well, I think the initial part of that, Cold Tyres, young driver, just locked up and fired it down into turn 4. So that was a pretty dramatic bit of racing, but they'll both live to fight another day, hopefully later in this race. But Dan Day's just been offline there, and he's lost 2 or 3 positions because of that. And Terry Waihoon now rattling his rear bumper bar as well. Hansen gets back track position, Briffa behind him. Have a look at this fight. Bottom half of the top 10. It's hugely competitive in the midfield. Dan Day right back on the offensive already.
And the other thing I really like about this, Rich, there is not one white, plain, boring car among it. Look at them all. Look at the colour. Look at the liveries. Bit of sponsorship, bit of retro livery stuff. Really great. This is what set it off. Dan out of control. Couldn't stop the car. Matt Hansen helped him stop. He just bumped him wide. It was a very small bump, but he got it back. Have a look at this. Tap.
There
Tap,
it is.
Tap, excuse me, there it is. And if you look at the mirror, you can see the red Commodore, and it let the door open for Steve Briffa to charge through. Now, that's Tony Evangelou slowing, and we're hearing from the lane, Rich, that there's a clutch problem with the Cat Ford, so he's in limp home mode, just trying to get a bundle of points and get the heck out of here.
Yeah, points are critical now for Evangelou as Connell goes past. Nice to ride on the AU Falcon. A little bit further down the field, but these cars still competitive, and they run the trophy class in the Kumho series as well. So they could go home with a bit of silverware for their efforts as well.
You can hear Rich at Maury Pickering, Finance Easy Ford, racing against Jordan Skinner in the X-Team Dynamic car run by THR from Adelaide. Young guy up against experienced guy. Maury's been around and done plenty of racing over the years, touring cars, sports sedans. He's been in the Kumho series last year. We haven't seen him over the last couple of rounds, but great having back at what is his home test track here, Queensland Raceway, in this car. And the Finance Easy Development Series team, in fact, based at Paul Morris Motorsport here on the Gold Coast. So if he's going to go well, this is the place to go well at, because he's done more laps around here in this style of car than anywhere else. Skinner runs a little bit wide, but he's done a good, solid job, Jordan Skinner. Never driven one of these cars before the weekend, as we've mentioned, and has really got a few of them behind him on the road who've done more laps.
10th in race 1, and I bumped into Jordan and his dad Mark before race 2 this morning, and he said, look, if we can get somewhere near the top 10, that will be a win for us this weekend, given the short notice of doing the deal. The deal was put together on the Thursday of race week, and then the lack of experience in the cars. And as so many drivers through the years or two, these are difficult cars to drive. They've got their own unique driving style, so it doesn't translate from racing F3 to jump into one of these cars and be quick from the outset. So he's adapted really well.
It's a completely different ball game for a guy like him, coming from a precise open wheeler. That's not quite precise through turn 2, using a little bit of curve, a little bit of dirt, but learning all the time, and that's the great thing about this Kumho series, because effectively that's what it's for, whether you're young or old or anywhere in between.
So Pickering in the Finance Easy car. He's having a solid weekend.
Oh, Briffa
slowing. Dramas for the Aussie Tyres Commodore, and he'll pull off into the loop circuit here at Queensland Raceway and get that car out of the way. So that won't bring out a safety car, but dramas for Steve Briffa, running really well inside the top 8.
Just hearing from Pit Lane, Rich, that there's a gearbox problem with that car. They think they've got a stripped gear, so he's ground to a halt. That's a real shame because he was running pretty solidly.
Now, Briffa, one of the few guys in this series still running the H-pattern gearbox, the Hollinger H-pattern. You can see that on the windows of these cars. A yellow H for the H-pattern gearbox, obviously, and an orange S for the sequential gearbox, which has been allowed into the category this season. His day, great livery on the ROH Wheels car. It's interesting as well how this series has positioned itself inadvertently, as a great historical place for these cars to race in original livery, but a great place for guys like Dan Day to learn how to drive these cars. Josh Keane, Josh Hunter, the names and list goes on and on. So the category, without even trying to, has positioned itself as, in effect, a third-tier V8 series.
And already, Rich, there's development series team owners who are looking to run very young drivers in this category, not in development series, because they need them to learn. If you're in a pack of 35 cars in development series where it's very, very serious, you're probably not going to learn. You'll get your ears boxed in and cost yourself a pile of cash. So come here and do a year or two, learn the cars, learn the way to set them up, learn the way to drive them. Once you're good at that, Dan Day off the road down at turn 6, then you can step it on up. But I wonder if that was solo or assisted. Not sure.
I think he was listening to the commentary of us giving him a big rap.
This might have something to do with it. Yes.
Jim Pollicina, very much stuck in the mud.
I'd stop spinning the wheels because it ain't going to help.
No, it's not going anywhere. So here's a look down the inside. Goes the Pole Performance McDonald's car. Contact with the right rear.
Having said that, though, Day saw him coming and did start to move across. Lucky he's not ended up fully in the sand. He's escaped. Jim hasn't.
He was unloaded, wasn't he, Dan Day? I don't think there was a huge amount in that, but it'll be up to race control to have a look. That's brought the safety car out. The car is stranded in the gravel trap there at turn 6, and the gravel's deep here at Queensland Raceway.
It is, Rich, and that's a good point you make about race control. Driving standards advisor this weekend is Paul Stokel, the former Gold Star champ and Nations Cup star who performs that role for the V8 Ute Series. Raymond Connell, though, has ground to a halt in the Hayman's Falcon, so he and Steve Briffa, both spectators now for this last run home, which bunches up the field and really means that Ryan Simpson's got to do the job again.
Pollicina getting towed out. The QR officials quick on the scene to get these cars recovered. But yeah, it's been a tough weekend for Pollicina. 12 months ago, he was the guy to beat, probably outside of Morgan Haber at this racetrack, and this happened as well. During all of that going on, John Vagotis just had a spin in the ex-Brad Jones Racing Aussie Mail Falcon. Looped that car around, but he'll live to fight another day. But this has been a really tough weekend for Pollicina.
Really tough season, in fact, Rich. Remember that at Malala things didn't go right. He ended up off the road in the wall. Just hasn't been able to get the same flow going. Remember, he's doing the development series as well. Safety car pulls in. Tony Evangelo gets out of the way. Remember, he's got a crippled Cat Falcon. Ryan Simpson, though, got a fantastic restart, and he's got some lap traffic between he and Shay Davies, who has got Morgan Haber in behind. This has brought Waihoon up and into the game onto the back of Matt Hansen, but I don't reckon anyone's going to get to Ryan Simpson. He's just too quick.
A couple of guys out of position there. Davies in front of Haber as well, so they're dicing for position for second on the road. A couple of lap cars in the middle. Waihoon attacking Matt Hansen on the run down to turn 3.
Stephen Voigt, lap traffic, gets out of the way. Shay Davies will slip on by. Next car on the line is John Vagotis in the ex-Brad Jones Racing Aussie Mail Ford. Now, Haber's got a really good run here. Davies was a little slow on the exit trying to get by Voigt. Look behind, he's down the inside. Haber is through to second, so that lap traffic has worked out well for the Mackay driver.
And smart driving by Davies to give him room. Day has a big moment at 4, and Charter goes through. There's contact, and that fires Charter off to the outside of the road. So This is right down at the middle to back of the field while it's going on at the front, but Davies fights back. Dives up the inside at turn 6. This is for second. Lap car of John Vigotis in the way, just up the road, but great drive out of the final corner there for Morgan Haber as they start the final lap. This has allowed Ryan Simpson to drive away unchallenged down in front, looking to make it a clean sweep for just the 6th time, or the 6th different driver to do that in Kumho V8 history.
Now Haber clears Vigotis at turn 2, and Shay Davies has to get him on the run down, so he's got himself a margin that should see Haber be able to hang on to second spot. Simpson's cleared away. There's no problems there. He's on target for the clean sweep, as Rich mentioned, but it's come alive in this final couple of laps after the safety car for this second spot. Nathan Assailant doing a really good job and doing the numbers. He'll be 4th for the weekend. He'll just miss out on the podium, but he should be very happy with his weekend's work.
Hansen held out Waihoon. Jordan Skinner and the ex-Team Dynamic car in the mix as well, so a great drive for him in this 3rd and final race, his 3rd ever start in the Kumho Series. But for Ryan Simpson, some great names have swept weekends in the Kumho Series. Steve Owen, Adam Wallace, Smurden, Waihoon and Josh Hunter before him. Ryan Simpson will add his name to that list. It's still on for second. It'll be close, but Haber should hold on. Ryan Simpson, though, wins the weekend. A sweep for Sonic at Queensland Raceway.
And the only man in the 1:12s in the final race, Rich. He leads them home and takes race 3 in round 4 of the Kumho Tyres Australian V8 Touring Car Series. A big weekend, all sorts of stories, some tales of woe for some title contenders, but there you have it. Simpson home from Haber, Davies, Assailant and Hansen, Dean Kovacevic rounding out the top 10.
Well, qualified pole, and there it's just about getting good starts, which we managed to do. Took the lead into turn 1 in every race, and then it was just about maintaining the gap, looking after the tyres to get there in the last race in 18-lapper.
So in just his short Kumho V8 touring car career, it's a round victory for Ryan Simpson. That guy, though, Shay Davies, will benefit big time. A great weekend, too, for Morgan Haber. A consistent weekend and front-running pace in the NW Motorsport Ford Falcon. It's a Ford 1, 2, 3. This is how the points stand. An increased lead quite substantially for Shay Davies over Terry Waihoon. Evangelou 3rd, Hansen up to 4th and within close company of that top 3 with Nathan Assailant 5th. And Ryan Simpson, 2 rounds under his belt. He's already 6th in the Kumho V8 standings after 4 of 6 rounds.